Hey, this is Passy from Passy's World of ACT, the guy with the white hat. And thanks for the people that emailed asking, hey, why haven't there been any videos? And the reason why is we'll show you right now. Okay, we do photos for the Australian Open tennis each summer here in Melbourne. So we've been super busy taking lots and lots and lots of tennis photos. And if you want to check them out, you can go to probably the best place is on Flickr, F-L-I-C-K-R. And if you look for PBP, Photos by Passy, you'll find them. And click on the Albums tab, and that'll take you into all of the albums we did for the tennis this summer. So that's kept us really busy doing that. So we haven't had any time to do videos, but now we're back doing videos. All right, so let's talk about today's lesson, Animate Ball Bounce Without Gravity. So in this one, we're going to learn to make a basic ball bounce animation, and then we'll make this kind of crazy pool table shot. So the basic ball bounce here just shows you the new skills you need to know to make one of these types of animations. And then we'll sort of make it go all a bit crazy and have this crazy pool shot. Whoa, bounce, bounce, bounce. And then it kind of speeds up, which is a bit not real, but that kind of makes it more interesting anyway. And then the challenge task for you will be, with those new skills you've learned, make some kind of ball bouncing or movement animation that uses this position keyframing, which is the big thing we're going to learn in this lesson, position keyframing. So here we've got some little happy guy wants to bounce in, but the big guy says no. I don't think the seagull, I think the seagull was just stunned in this sort of Angry Birds type thing there. I don't think it was actually injured. And then table tennis was very popular, maybe because the tennis had been on in Melbourne. We've got Newton's cradle there. That's an interesting one to do, quite challenging, and it's hard to get it perfect, but it's quite a neat little one to do. This was just using the same bouncing ball idea, but we've got a hopping kangaroo, the Australian animal there, and a bird flying as well. And this was another ping pong one, kind of frozen in time, and the ball just keeps going and going because there's no gravity in this to slow it down. You can put gravity into animations, and that's something we might look at in another lesson, but certainly not in this lesson. This one's going to be big enough. So remember, I'm a bit of a slow talker, so make sure you go to that Tools cog on the YouTube player bar and just set the speed, click on that and go to playback speed and set it to 1.5, 1.75, or even 2 times speed, just so you'll find the video flows a lot better. Now it's going to be a long lesson because we're doing the basic ball bouncing, and we're also going to be doing that pool table one as a demonstration. So remember, in the video timeline index, which you can find in the YouTube description, it has these numbers here, and you can just stop at any point you want to in the video, and then when you want to come back later and watch more, you just go to where you're up to and click on that blue number, and it'll take you straight to that section in the video. Now, recommended pre-learning for this lesson, it's going to be easier if you've already done the cookie cutter emoji tutorial, and you know how to do cookie cutting of shapes, and you've also done the motion tween, the basic motion tween color change animation. If you've done those 2 previous lessons, it'll be all right. Now you can do this ball bounce lesson, but make sure you pay very close attention to where we do the live demo, because we'll be showing you these kind of skills from these lessons as we do it, all right? So you can do it without those lessons, but we recommend you've done them previously, because you should do our course in the order of the videos in the YouTube playlist. This is a great lesson. This is all about position keyframes for motion tween animations. And while we animate the bouncing balls, we're going to create a 24 frames per second animation, but slow it down to 12 frames per second. How to convert objects into movie clips and make a motion tween, which you've already done in the sunburn animation, but if you haven't done that, we'll show you how to do it. Timeline layers to have a background, and then we need a separate layer for the ball so the ball can move independently of the background, which you would have seen in the sunscreen sunburn one if you've done that. With object drawing off, we'll use cookie cutter to make the pool table pocket. So that's where the previous lesson on the cookie cutter would be helpful for you. How to use the transform resize tool so we can copy and rotate pockets and just draw one and then use it to copy and paste to make the other ones. How to create a basic straight line motion tween, that's our starting point. And then we use a position keyframe at various frame numbers along the timeline. And then you can kind of get all these angled kind of repositioning of the animation start going on, so it's not in a straight line, all right? And the simplest repositioning, of course, is the big V shape of the bouncing ball. So how to use keyframes to make our ball bounce in many different straight line angles, that's the pool table one, and how to export the finished ball bounce animation as an animated GIF, which is how we finish off our projects. So we've got a GIF that we can use on the web or email to someone or whatever we want to do. Note, we're not going to cover the gravity effects in this lesson, but we certainly have that on the drawing board to cover sometime in another lesson. Now, in the downloads, you can get some finished off GIF versions, so you can see all of those challenge task ones which our students have done, and also what the finished pool ball one looks like, and a PDF of step-by-step instructions, which is basically every slide from this video which we're doing. So a lot of our students just like to get the step-by-step instructions and work through those, and then go to the video if they've got issues, go to the timeline index, find that exact part of the video, and then just play that part of the video, probably in the live demo part, or just watch the live demo and solve their problem that way. So it's fine not to watch all the video. You can just get the downloads. That's in the YouTube description. There's a link for them. Get this PDF and work through that, especially if you've done some Animate previously. And then if you get stuck, you can come to the video, but give the video a big thumbs up like anyway while you're here. So the Animate startup, we'll go through what you have to do to make the bouncing ball, and then we'll actually do a live demo of it in Adobe Animate. All right, so when Animate 22 starts up, you need to go create new. I think the older versions have new file, but whatever the new thing is, just click on that on the welcome screen after it starts up, and then we're going to choose either game or education and click on the create button. So another panel will come up for the new document. Game or education is what we always use. They're pretty much the same thing. And we're going to make it 800 and 600 for the width and height. So you have to type those values in, or make sure those values are selected. Frame rate, we're just going to have it 24 at the moment. The platform type should be HTML5 canvas by default, and you can just leave that as it is and then click the create button. All right, so you don't have to choose, because we're going to be exporting as a final GIF, it doesn't really matter what you choose here. You can choose ActionScript 3 if you are an old Animate user and you want to do that, but you don't have to. We recommend using the HTML5. Now the tools, now the stage screen, when that starts up after you've set up the new project, there's a few things we usually do. Okay, firstly, we go to, these tools will probably be in one big long straight line, and on a small laptop screen, they'll go right off the screen, which is really painful. So what we always do is we just hover the mouse on the edge of this, and then double arrows should appear, and you push down your mouse and you drag that out so it's in 2 columns. Likewise, the timeline might be taking up too much space. You can just hover the mouse without the buttons pressed down on the border area here, the line, get these double arrows, then you push down and hold your mouse, and we can resize that as well. The other thing we do is that the window, if you want to hide the timeline, if your timeline isn't showing, use this window button up here, and it'll bring out all these options, and make sure timeline's ticked. And if tools aren't showing, do this window button up here and make sure you've got the tools turned on with a tick so that you can see them if they're not showing up on your screen. The other thing we do is we always just work in the basic essentials. So on this little icon up here next to that play button, just click on that and make sure you're in essentials, okay? Because you need to be in essentials view, which will give you this stage kind of setup, and then you'll be able to follow along with these instructions. If you set it to other things, these instructions, the screens in here won't look the same. So make sure you are on essentials. That's really essential to be on essentials. All right, now the ball bounce animation, the final thing is fitting the stage area, that white area where we set up our animation, into the actual area you've got on your screen. So you can just use this down arrow that's located here and say fit in window, and Animate will fit it in whatever window size you've got for a little laptop or a big laptop screen. We found that kind of for this animation using 75%, 80% kind of worked well around those sort of values, and you can just type those directly into the box and then press enter. All right, if you want an exact value like 80%, just type it in there. Right, so that's it for setting it up for the new project, and now we're ready to do the first thing, which is setting the blue kind of background for our animation. So this is our screen, and this will be white at the moment, but you go Window Properties, and that'll bring up this Properties panel, and you should see it on Properties, all right? And make sure it's on the Dock tab. Now, when you're on Properties in the Dock tab, you should be able to go to this Stage Color here. Also, rather than do Window and Properties to bring this panel up, you can also just use the sliders icon that's here to bring it up as well. And when you want to just close it down again and hide it, there's some double arrows here. There's not an X in the corner. There's double arrows in the corner that you click, and then it just kind of goes back in here behind its icon. All right, so once we're here, that'll be white. Click on it and just pick this blue color, one of these deeper kind of blues here, and that'll change your background to blue. And then we've got our background set up on layer 1 down here in the bottom left hand corner. So the next thing is we're going to change the frame rate, slow it down, make it only put out 12 frames per second instead of 24. And for that you can go Modify Document. All right, and that's going to open up the document settings menu. Down there it's got frame rate, and at the moment it's 24. Just click in that box and change it to a 12, and that will make it half the speed, because half of 24 is 12. If you wanted to make it 1/4 of the speed, you'd use 6, and so on. You have to do a bit of maths there. Who thought math would ever be useful? And then you click the OK button. And what you should notice now is in your timeline at the bottom of your screen, you should see it saying 12 FPS here, if you've done everything properly. That's where the current frame rate is displayed. Now, frame rates, you can only have the same frame rate throughout the animation, as far as I know. You can't kind of have one section 12 frames and then the other section 24 frames. But you change the length of the section on the timeline to create those sort of faster and slower effects if you need to, but we won't go into that today. So we've got the background bounce platform is what we need to make next. So we've made the background of the whole project blue, and we can double click on that one that says layer 1, double click on it and just delete out layer 1 and have it say background, so it's got a sensible name and we know what it is. There should be an open round circle here already, showing that we've got a blank keyframe to start our work on. And click onto the rectangle tool, this one here. If it's showing the oval tool or something else, you have to push down this little arrow in the bottom right hand corner and make sure it's on the rectangle tool. And then if we open up the properties with the icon, or by going Window Properties, make sure it's on Tool this time, not Dock, and set the fill, click on that and pick a black, and set the stroke to this no color symbol like this, all right? And then that's ready to go. And we're just drawing a long skinny rectangle kind of down the bottom here by holding down the mouse and drag it out. And when it, you kind of start in this corner and drag down diagonally over to there, downhill to there, and then let go. Now, if you mess it up, just use Control Z to undo it and try again until you've got something that kind of looks like this, a little dark platform at the bottom. Now that's all finished, and we don't want to move that platform or mess that up while we're working on the ball. So put a padlock on that. You just click in here underneath the padlock icon in this blue section, and that padlock will turn on, which means that's now protected from us accidentally making any errors. We then click on the plus sign down here in the bottom left hand corner of our screen to make a new layer. It'll be called layer 2. Double click in it and call it ball. All right, so the ball's going to now be fully independent of the black background we've got here. All right, now we're going to draw ourselves a three-dimensional yellow ball rather than a plain one. So when we're on the rectangle tool, if you push down, there's other tools as well, and we want to get on the oval tool. So you just push down on the corner here where it was a rectangle and change it over onto the oval tool. And down here, make sure we're clicked on the ball layer at the moment, all right? Then to be able to get, rather than have a plain colored oval, to get the 3D kind of radial gradient one, what you do is you click on this sort of artist palette icon, and that'll open up the color panel, and make sure you clicked on the color tab, or you can use that Windows up the top, the Windows on the top menu, and go window and then make sure color is ticked. And we set the pencil to no color. That's the first thing to do, to this no color symbol. And then we need to use this drop down arrow here while we're clicked on the paint bucket and change it to radial gradient. A common mistake is to be clicked on this guy, the pencil, and change that to a radial gradient. So make sure you just set pencil to no color, then click on this color block, maybe just make it yellow to start off with. And then you can go here and make a radial gradient. Now, how we get this kind of, might be hard to see in the video, but that's actually a darker yellow around the outside, and it's a very light yellow in the middle. So it kind of should look a little bit 3D, as if a light's shining on it. Now, how we do that is, there's these little house icons here, and you double click on this left one and make it this light yellow, this butter yellow, and you double click on this one and make it kind of a goldy orange color at this end, and that should give you the 3D effect on the radial gradient. All right, we'll show you that in the live demo if you're not sure about it. So if you're having problems with that, go to the live demo and watch that. Skip ahead using the video timeline index. All right, so to create the yellow ball symbol object, we've got that there, and we can resize it. If you get on this resizer tool next to the home tool, the arrow tool, you'll be able to pull on the ends and resize it, the free transform tool, get it about this size, and you can also push down on it and move it up into this left-hand corner. And now we need to change that because it's going to move. We can't leave it as a plain drawing because you can't move drawings in Animate. We've got to go modify and convert to symbol. All right, you can also right click and find convert to symbol, but this is probably easiest, modify convert to symbol. And we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it yellow ball _ MC because it's a movie clip. This is just kind of a typical Animate naming standard. And then for the type, you click this down arrow and click it onto movie clip. Because most times when things are moving, we make the movie clips. Now you could also make it graphic type, and it will be able to make a motion tween moving, but the kind of correct way of doing it, or the way most people would do it, okay, we're going to have something moving, so let's use movie clip for that. All right, now we need to go back to our background layer, and we want this animation to go for 24 frames in total. So click back onto the background layer. You don't actually have to undo the padlock. You can just go straight here and click in frame number 24. And when you do it, this 1 should change to a 24 here to tell you in number 24. Then just go right click and insert keyframe. Not blank keyframe, but insert keyframe, which will copy this ball that's in number 1 up to here. All right, and the background layer should now show, so it's going to copy the background platform from 1 to 24 because we're on the platform layer, the background, we're not on the ball, and I'm not on the ball saying that to you. The background layer should now show still animation going for 24 frames, all right, and you just leave it padlocked. So if you click the play button at this stage, you just see it sitting still there for 24 frames, which isn't that exciting, but it will be in a minute when we get the ball going. So on the ball layer now, click on the ball layer, click in into number 1, so that's the active frame for the ball layer, and then right click and go create motion tween. All right, mouse over the current end. Now what will happen is, because we've set it for a 12 frames per second animation, it's only going to make this kind of drab green colored motion tween go up to frame 12. So we want it to go to the end of the animation here, which is going to be 24 long. no problem. You just move your mouse and hover it over here with no buttons pressed down. You should see a double black arrow. Once you get that, push down the mouse button and just drag along till it goes up to number 24. And again, if it messes up, just do Control Z and try it again. But we just need to extend that so it goes up to 24. And when you've done that, it should look like this. That when you click in this box here, it should say you're at frame 24. And you can see the whole green motion tween now is going for 24 frames like we needed to, all right? So now, while we're clicked in that frame 24, making the motion tween is the same as what we did in that sunburn lesson, actually. The ball will be sitting here at the moment. You just push down your mouse and grab it with either the resize tool or the arrow tool, it doesn't matter, and move it across to here. All right, so it's going to be starting there, but we want it to finish here. So this is setting the finish point at frame 24 on the ball layer that's going to be over here. Now, if you press the play button at this stage, what's going to happen is the ball will move from its position at 1 to where we've just put it to be at frame 24. So Animate does all the in-betweening for us automatically. So that's why it's called a motion tween. Tween is short for in-betweening. All right, so we've got that happening, but we want it to actually go down and back up. So to do that, we have halfway along, exactly halfway along at frame 12, we need to put a bend in it. And how we do that is, we use a position keyframe. If you just grab it and pull it down, you'll get the U-shaped kind of thing, which is great if the sun's going across the sky or if you're shooting a cannonball or something at a bird, but it's not good for this. We'll show you what we mean now. So to get this V path, we use position keyframes if we want straight line movements. So what we do is we go to frame 12 and click in there on the ball layer, and then right click and insert keyframe and make a position keyframe. What you can do then is you can then grab the ball and pull it down to here, and notice for the in-betweening it's making straight lines at an angle. It's not curving the path. If you just grab it and pull it down without doing a position keyframe, it'll make the curved one like a U kind of shape. But if we use position keyframe and pull straight down, we get straight lines that makes the V shape, and the V shape is what we want in this one. And when you play it now, what should happen is it should be bouncing in a V like that. And we're just about finished. We're just going to make it a little bit nicer. We're going to change the magnification here to 50% so we can see our stage and a bit off the side of the stage. And we're going to click in frame 1 and just move the ball over to here. Frame 12, we're just going to make sure it's still on the platform. And 24, we're just going to move it from here up to here so it's off the screen. So that way when it plays and we generate the animated GIF, it'll look a bit different, which we'll show you in a minute. So how you make the animated GIF now that we've got the whole thing finished is File, Tab, then Export and Export Animated GIF. So up to File, Export, Export Animated GIF. Of course, make sure you do a file save as and just save it as an FLA file to save your project. But to actually finish it off, we use File, Export. And on the next screen, just leave these things as they are. They should all be at these settings shown here. And it should just be a matter of clicking the Save button. And then Animate might just wait for a minute or so, or 30 seconds, just while it's generating the GIF. All right, so just sit there and wait. If it's taken longer than 2 minutes, then something's wrong. And it'll put that GIF. The GIF is now its own little standalone object, like any GIF, something you get from Giphy or off the web. And you've got to give it a name. So we're calling it Ball Bounce GIF, capital GIF there. And it needs to be a .gif file. GIF image for the type, and just click Save, and then it's going to get saved into your Windows folder. And then you don't need Animate going at all. You can just go to your Windows folder and just double click on it, and Windows will run it as an animated GIF, and you'll see the finished product there where it's sort of coming off the screen and disappearing again. All right, so that's the finished ball bouncing animated GIF. And I think next, well, we're doing the live demo in Adobe Animate. So this might be a place where you want to take a break. You've kind of seen the instructions and got roughly in your head what we're doing. 2 layers, background and ball. Background just has a little platform drawn on it. Ball, we've got to make the motion tween and do a position keyframe to make the big V. So if you want to take a break now, you can just pause the video or even stop the video and come back later in the timeline index and find where it says in the timeline index in the YouTube description, Animate Ball Bounce Animation Live Demo, and then click on that and it should come straight to this point in the video. So take a break now if you want to. We've been going 24 minutes, so have a break if you need to. Okay, so here we are. We've started up Adobe Animate 2022 and we click the Create New button. All right, then remember that will bring up this panel here for a new document. So we just want to use education or game, one of these two up the top here. And we want medium size 800 by 600, so click on that. So click this, so it's got the blue box around it. And you'll see here, it should say 800 for width, 600 for height. Just leave the frame rate at 24. We're going to change that to 12 later. HTML canvas, just leave that as it is and go create. And Animate should, it's a little bit slow because we're running Camtasia to film this and everything else, but there it is. And remember, what will probably be on your screen is just everything down in one line here in the tools. Now, if the tools aren't showing, it'll look like this. Make sure up here on this guy, next to between the upload and test buttons, that you're in Essentials view, all right? So it looks like this with timeline at the bottom. But the trouble is our tools aren't showing, and if we go Window Timeline and turn that off, our timeline isn't showing up at all. So sometimes our students start up their project and it's like this, and they panic because there's no timeline and no tools, which is a bit of a panic situation. So just make sure timeline is ticked, and click Window again and just make sure Tools is ticked, and then they should be showing up. Now again, another way to panic if you've got a small laptop is all of these will go off the end of the screen. So remember, move on to this side line here, this black line, until you get that double white arrow, which you can see up the top left-hand corner hopefully. Push down the mouse and just pull that across so that they're doubled up like this, and then you won't have any problems. Now, if your timeline is kind of really big like that and blocking part of this stage and making life difficult, there's a black line there. You can just move the mouse over it with no buttons pressed. That's called hovering. Hover the mouse and just pull that down so it's out of the way, but we can still kind of see that we're going to be able to make two layers here. We've got room for that. Now, how big this is, it's still probably a bit too big. So remember, that's where you use this arrow up here in the right-hand corner where the percent is, and you can just make it 75%. But on this particular laptop, we can probably go in to that box and make it 85% and press enter. And then it all seems to be filling the screen okay. All right, so that's that part going. Now, just checking the instructions so we don't miss anything. So we're going to set the blue background. So this layer here at the moment is called layer 1. So let's double click on it. You might hear my dog there. He goes off if he sees a bird in the backyard, and probably a bird has landed. So he's going crazy saying, "This is my backyard, get out of here. This is the property of Lord Murphykins." And yeah, anyway, he goes nuts. Anyway, so just rename that to background by double clicking in it like we just did. And then remember, it was modify document, okay? And then it has stage color here, and you can change stage color. And you can also change frame rate. Let's change the frame rate, 12. And let's not change the color yet, because remember, you can use window properties, just to totally confuse you. Now, where are properties? Right here. So click on that one and it opens up this properties panel, and see here it's got stage. So we can just go stage and we'll make it that nice blue color. All right, we could also change the frame rate just by typing in that box as well. So you can either do modify document if you like using the top menu, or just click on to this kind of sliders icon. If you can see it up the top right-hand corner, if you leave your mouse on, it even tells you it's the properties. Click on that and make sure you're not on tool, you're on dock. All right, and we can change that color, but that's enough of that. What we need to do now is go over to our tools and get on the rectangle tool. All right, now if yours is showing oval tool, next to the eraser near the paintbrush, just hold down your mouse and press and get it on rectangle tool. Now to see the colors we're going to set up, there's this little artist kind of palette symbol up here, and that'll bring the color panel up. And remember these double arrows, Adobe doesn't have an X in the corner, it has these double arrows instead to close it. Or if you like to use window, just go window and find out where color is, it's down here, and click on that and that'll open it up as well. So for our pencil, we need to use, it's probably going to be on black at the moment, he says. Okay, why isn't the stroke color changing? Black. Okay, let me just check something out here. Adobe are always doing upgrades, so I'm not sure why that shows up like it does. Anyway, we want the no color symbol, which is up here in the right hand corner. See this one with the diagonal red through it? Just click on that so it's got no color. Now on the paint bucket, you could just click on yellow, all right, and draw a plain yellow square. Well, that's not going to be too good. We wanted a black one, but you could draw a yellow platform down here if you wanted to, but we don't want to do that. It's supposed to be black, all right? So here, just click on that and make it black or dark gray. Let's go dark gray just for something different. All right, and remember down here, we were just drawing that ball, that platform, which the ball could bounce on. Now, if you don't like the color, you should be able to click on it so it's highlighted here. Go to your color panel and change it. All right, so we'll just change it to black and click off it. All right, and keep that color, and we can also just kind of move it so it's in the middle, and that's all good. So our background layer is finished now. So what you do is you put a padlock on it. So down here in the left-hand corner, where it's showing that sort of not so bright padlock, click on that, and so that's padlocked now, and we can't mess that up. Then we need to use this plus sign here to make a new layer, and double click in that and call it ball, and press enter, and now we're going to draw our ball. So this is where we need to change over to the oval tool, and on the colors, right, you can click on that artist icon there. On the colors, like I was saying, you could just use yellow and make a plain yellow ball. We don't really want to do that. We want to make it 3D. So where it's got solid color here, just go to Radial Gradient. And at the moment it's doing a black middle and a white outside like that, which isn't so good, unless you like that and you could use that. But we need to change these colors down here. Remember, double click in this house symbol here, or this color pointer symbol. And remember, that was going to be a really light kind of yellow. And this one here was going to be a deep yellowy gold sort of color like that. And that would mean that when we drew our ball, okay, it's got a little bit of 3D to it. So we can go onto our arrow tool and move that up into the corner. Now, if you want to make it a little bit bigger, remember, you can use the resize tool. This one next to the arrow tool there in the tools, just use that to change its size if you need to, but I might kind of just leave it like that for the moment. All right, so that's the ball drawn. Now remember, you needed to right click on that and go to convert to symbol, or as the instructions say, modify convert to symbol. Either one will take you to this panel, and we were going to call this yellow ball. Now remember, Adobe doesn't like spaces, so I'm just going to put underscore yellow ball, or you can just put a capital, use this thing called like that. And we're going to put underscore MC on the end because it's going to be a movie clip. So we change the type here to movie clip. The registration dot should be in the middle of the object. So make sure that's in the middle and it's not on any of the corners. You need to have this little black dot lit up so it's in the middle like that. Then we say OK. And that's made our movie clip symbol. All right, now we're going to have a 24 frame animation. So I'm down the bottom left-hand corner here in the timeline, and I'm going to click on this background and go to frame 24. All right, and then right click, and remember it was insert keyframe to make a copy of it. So now if we drag the player head, push down on this blue player head in the timeline, the platform hangs round for the whole animation, but at the moment the ball is only in frame 1. Okay, so remember on the ball, I'll just check in the instructions actually that we haven't missed anything. We've drawn the ball, we've made it into a movie clip. We've extended that. So we're going to create a motion tween now. So remember, the way we can do that is in frame 1 down here of the ball, in the timeline, the bottom left-hand corner, right click on that and go create motion tween. Now that's made us a green motion tween down here, but it only goes to frame 12 at the moment. Remember, get onto it, and when you get the double black arrows at 12 at the end here, just push down and you can stretch that so it goes the same distance as the background all the way up to 24. Now we need to be clicked in this frame 24 here, all right? And that's going to be, we're going to use the black arrow tool here and just move our ball that at the end of the animation, we kind of want it up in this corner. And that'll make a straight line motion tween. If you press the play button, which is above the animation on the timeline, underneath the animation. See, it's going in a straight line at the moment, all right? And this is where we do the position keyframing to bend it. So we've got that, we've got that. Now we need to go halfway in between 1 and 24, and the halfway point is 12, if you know your maths, your 12 times tables. 2 12s are 24. Guess no one knows that these days. You'd have to get out your calculator and do 24 divided by 2, some of you. But that's all right. And then we right click in there and we go insert keyframe, and then there's an arrow that takes us to the right. We want a position keyframe because that way, when you drag it down and put it here, it's going to make the V shape, and when you play it, it's going to be a V like that, our bouncing ball. Now, what a lot of students do is, I'll just go Control Z, is remember when we were making the sun move across the sky in the sunburn animation, we just grabbed it and bent it down like this. All right, and that has actually made a straight line. It's made a liar out of me. Usually those things, we've got the big V shape and we press play, and there's our ball. And remember, then once it's all done, just go File, Save As, and we'll just call this ball lesson. So we're just saving the FLA file at the moment. Okay, and then we go File and we go Export, and Export Animated GIF. Now it's a little bit slow here because I've got a lot of things running at the moment, and this isn't exactly the world's most powerful laptop. Okay, Animate's having a little hissy by the looks of it. Okay, so we've got the round circle of death. Thank you, Animate. Lucky we saved the project first. All right, so let's just try close that window, and of course now it's gone to the export image. Well, fingers crossed this will work. So we just leave all that as it is, and we should just be able to go save. And this is going to be our ball lesson GIF. And we'll just save that. And Animate seems to have recovered. All right, well, that's good news. If we now go to our Windows folder, see how we got this ball lesson GIF? We just double click on that file, and there we are, we've got a GIF, and we can email that Windows file to someone, and they don't need Adobe Animate. They can just download it, and in their downloads file, click the GIF file, and it just runs just like any animated GIF. All right, so that's what we do with our finished projects. We were going to do a thing as well, which we didn't do, I just noticed, and that was to change this view up here to 50% and move that sort of starting off the screen like that. This one can stay where it is. If we click in the timeline at number 12, click in the timeline for ball at 24, and this was going to move off the screen, just so when we play it, it's kind of like that, all right? And that should be the ball finished. All right, so that's the basic ball bounce finished. And if you want to, you could stop here and then just try and make your own animation, try do the challenge task. But we'll just do the billiard pool ball animation. If you want to skip this, just go to the timeline index and skip it and go down to where challenge task is in the index. Or you could just elect to maybe just read the instructions for this to see how we did it. Or else you could just go down the timeline index of the billiard pool ball animation live demo and just watch parts of the live demo. But we've been going 42 minutes, so usually our videos are a bit long. Because we could have just had the ball as one lesson and this one as another lesson. All right, but we don't have a lot of time to book a filming session in our timetable here for the life of Passy. So we have to do a big slog whenever we make a video. All right, so making the billiard table. So the first thing we need to do is make the tables. This is a whole new Animate project. This is one that's 900 by 500. And we just draw a brown rectangle and then we draw a green rectangle over the top and we call the thing table and extend it to frame 24. All right, so that should be pretty straightforward. Then we're going to use cookie cutting for the table pocket. So we're using the rectangle tool to kind of draw a navy blue rectangle here, which maybe wasn't a good idea because it's a bit hard to see. And we need those pocket holes there to be black. So you draw one black circle and then you can just edit, copy, edit, paste to make the second one so they're the exact same size, or you could go Control-C, Control-V. But one of these is going to be for side pockets and the other one's for corner pockets. So you need two black circles about the same size and a rectangle that we're going to use for the cutting. Now, while you draw those, you need to make sure this guy down here in the properties, which is underneath the rectangle tool, this one here needs to it must not have the gray around it. So it needs to be turned off. That's the turned off value like that, where there's no kind of gray around it. It needs to be turned off. Now, if you click on that while it's here, you'll turn it on. And when it's turned on, you'll see a light gray box around it, kind of like turning a light on. So now it's lit up and it's on. So just click it again and it should go back to off like this. So you only want the little red square and the little circle. You don't want the gray square around it. All right, it's got to be like this. It's got to be turned off when you draw those. All right, so make sure you clicked off all of the shapes because when you click onto them, they go dot filled like this. All right, so we're going to take that blue square and we'll show you this in the live demo. You click on it so it's all dotty dot and move it halfway over this circle like this. And then you have to click off it so that it's not selected anymore. Then click back onto it and pull it away to do the cookie cutting. A lot of our students have it like this and move it away and no cookie cutting happens. You actually have to kind of click here and click off it, then click back on it, then pull it away and pull it away like that. And it should cut off the overlap section here that was happening for that half circle. It was overlapped with our square. And now we've got this thing which we can use as our side pocket. All right, so just right click on it and modify convert to symbol. Make this one a graphic symbol called side pocket. And we can check it out and it should be in the library. It's saved in the library. So if we need a side pocket at any time, we can just pull it out of the library onto the stage. So that's exactly what we do. There it is in the library. All right, so you go to the library and you just drag this across out onto your stage and then you've got a side pocket, but we need to turn it round in the right direction and move it into position. And how we do that is you can either use the free transform tool, move just off the corner of your mouse and get the turnaround symbol, then push down your mouse and turn it around, like we've shown you in other lessons, and then move it into position as a side pocket in the middle. Then you can just do edit, copy, edit, paste, or you could drag another one out of the library to use. Either way works. And once we've got the copy one, that moves down here and you go just off the corner, not onto that black square on the corner, just off it, and you should get the turnaround symbol. When you see the turnaround symbol, push down and flip it round so it's like this. Or you could have it like that and go modify, transform, flip vertical. We'll flip it as well from this modify menu up the top. But either way, we've now got our two side pockets and we need to make our corner pocket. And we'll kind of move things along here a bit. So this time on that other, on that half circle you've got, you can just move this square up over there. So we've got a quarter circle and then click off it, remember, and click back onto it and move it away. And then it's very hard to see, but we have got a 1/4 circle happening now, which we can use for all of the corner pockets. So it needs to be bigger. So we just got on the resize transform tool and stretch it up to be a little bit bigger and modify convert to symbol and call that one side pocket. Corner pocket, sorry, then you can pull out corner pockets and rotate them around and put them into position. And then we'll have the whole table finished and we can put a padlock on the table, all right? So now we're to do the red ball. Now we made a radial gradient one and we made a motion tween originally. So once pockets are done, so once you've got all your black pockets in there, just put a padlock on that and make a new layer called red ball and draw a red ball here in frame one. Do the old click in frame 24 and make a motion tween. Then we can use all these position keyframes to reposition it. So you right click in frame 5, do a position keyframe. It's going to go move it over so it's here. And then in frame 10, do another position keyframe, make it go there. At 13, do a keyframe, make it go there. Then make it go here at number 15. So at 15 in the timeline, right click, insert position keyframe, and so on, until we've moved it to all these other positions, all the way up to frame 23 and 24 where it's in this corner pocket. And then it should just be zigzagging all around the table when you play it, and that should be done. Now we made a slower frame rate of 6 frames per second here because 24 was absolutely crazy. And the finished animation should kind of look like this, where the ball's kind of going around and then speeding up at the end to make it into the pocket. All right, you probably make it better than that, spend a bit more time on it and make the position keyframes more evenly spaced along the timeline and it will look a bit better. So let's do the live demonstration of that. And then once we've done that, the lesson's finished. So again, you might want to take a break. We're at 49 minutes. If that going through the business was too fast for you, that's okay. Just get a download from in the YouTube description text. Get a download of the step-by-step instructions so you can have those up. I'm going to have those up on this other laptop actually because I just want to be able to check when we did all those position keyframes what numbers they were at. So they were kind of at numbers 5, 10, 13, 15 and so on. All right. So take a break now if you need to, and you can even come back to the video another day. Find in the timeline index billiard ball live demo or pool ball live demo, and then you can come to this section of the video and watch it. All right, so here we are in Animate. We need to just close this after we saved it. Just save the changes, yes. So we'll just exit out of that one, and we're going to make a new project, this time a brand new one. And remember, this time we were going to get in this width box and just make it a little bit wider, 900 by 500, I think it was, for the because we want to have a longer, kind of skinnier rectangle table. Frame rate 24, which we're going to change to 6 later on because it goes too fast. We'll just leave it as 24 and create that. And there it is. I think it's fitting on the screen. Let's just go to this fit in window. Okay, so 105 is big enough. Let's just go to 95%. All right, so that's pretty good. And so this first label's called table. So I might as well get that typed in there. Then remember, we're getting on the rectangle tool, and first up we were just going to have a kind of brown color for the table outline. So you just draw a big brown rectangle over the whole stage area. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit over the sides, because when you generate the animation, Animate's going to crop it anyway. Now just click off that, otherwise you'll change its color. And we just need to now change to a green color for the pool table. That one maybe. And remember, on the rectangle tool, we were going to just make another rectangle inside there, like that. Okay, and then that was the table finished, so we're going to padlock it. Then we're having a new layer called pockets. All right, and remember to make the pockets off in the side area here. We were going to be on the rectangle tool. Let's just get on our color. Or a quicker way is to actually use these color blocks here, because this was just to have a blue rectangle for doing cutting out. And then remember, we needed a couple of black circles. So we change over to the oval tool, change that to black, and we just draw a circle here for a side pocket, and we'll just draw another one there as well. And then while we were drawing those, see our object drawing, it was turned off. Now if you've left it turned on, what will happen is that top circle's with it turned on. When you click on there, see how this has got a blue box around it, and see how this goes dotty? We need dotty, and the way you have dotty ones is because you had object drawing turned off, right? If you had it clicked so it had a grey box around it here, if you look down the bottom of the tools panel, then when you draw them, they have this blue box around them because they're actually objects now. And this won't work for cookie cutting. So this one up here, we're going to press the delete key on our keyboard and get rid of it. So just remember that is important. All right, now we can go back to our home base arrow tool here, and we click on our blue rectangle, which is dotty, which means we had object drawing mode off, and that's good. And then you go sort of halfway here like this over the top of that black circle. Now, if you move it away at this time, it doesn't do any cutting. Remember, this is where a lot of students have problems. You need to click off it, then click back on it, and then when you pull away, it'll do what's called the cookie cutting. All right, this one's ready. So we're going to right click on that, and we're going to create convert to symbol, which is down the bottom here. Right click, convert to symbol. This one's just going to be a graphic. And this is just the semicircle shape for a side pocket. All right, and if you go window library now, you can see that side pocket's been saved into the library if you go on the library tab. So if we go to properties and just go on the library tab, we can see we've got that side pocket in there. Now, once it's in the library, what you can do is you can just drag it out like this. And this one we can pretty much move down into position there and try and make it in the middle of the table. And then we can go to our library again. Now, there's a library books icon here, a books icon. If you just grab that, it'll take you in the library. Click on side pocket here, not up the top, but down here where it says side pocket. Drag that out. Now we need to have that round the other way. So you can go modify, transform, and you can go flip vertical. All right, the other way to do it would be to get on the resize tool, get near the corner and see that arrow. When you push down when that arrow appears and hold down, you can move things around, all right, to any angle you want. But anyway, we want it like that. Now let's try and keep it lined up with the other one. And somehow the other one, now I think they both look the same size and in the right position, the correct position. Now this is done on a separate layer called pocket, so that's going all right. Now the next step was, while we're on the arrow tool, remember just get on this, and we need kind of to move that over the top of, now this one. This is why we had the second circle, all right? Because once we've turned it into a graphic symbol, we can't cookie cut it. So we're on this one, we're going to cut it in half. Remember, you've got to click off it, then click back on it, move it away, then click off it. All right, and we're going to move it across to make a quarter circle like this. Okay, click off it, click back on it, then move it away and you can cookie cut. If you make mistakes, just go Control Z, all right, to go backwards steps. All right, so that's the guy we want for corner pocket. So we're going to right click on it and go convert to symbol. This one just needs to be a graphic. This one is what we're using for corner pocket. All right, so now we can grab that and we can move it into a corner. Now, if that's not big enough for you, because it does kind of look a little small, we'll have to go to the resize tool and resize it. But everything in the library is going to be that original size that we saved it as. All right, so we'd have to use edit copy, edit paste if we've done any resizing. And we'll just say paste in the center will be good so we can find the thing. And then this one here, we can rotate around. Like, how does it need to rotate around? That way. And I think we'll have to go modify, transform, flip vertical. And then we've got one which can fit in there. All right. And then we need to Control C, Control V. Let's grab that. That one just needs to modify, transform, flip vertical. And that can go in there. And then we can, let's see, if we go Control C, Control V on this one, and then go modify, transform, and flip vertical. That one will be ready to go in there. Hooray, so we got all our pockets in place. So that's the pockets done. So put a padlock on them, and then we need to click the plus symbol to make a new layer. This one's going to be for the actual ball. All right, and here we need to get onto the oval tool. Now, these guys are sitting here. You can just leave them because Animate crops out later. But if you want to be fully correct, I guess we should get on our pockets layer, unlock it, go to these guys and just delete them. Then padlock our pockets layer, get back on our ball layer, into frame one of the ball layer, and set for the oval tool. And in the colors, we want a radial. Now make sure you clicked on paint bucket and we want radial gradient. So pencil no color radial gradient. Now this was for our red one. Let's change this so we've got orange, a kind of an orange at one color end and a red at the other. And let's see how that goes. Now, where was our ball starting off? It was going to start off here, I think, but you can start it anywhere you like. So there's our ball, and we need to click on that and right-click, convert to symbol, and call that a graphic, and that's called red ball. Okay, now we did make that a graphic. And we told you that things are going to move need to be movie clips. So that's all right. We can have a graphic version of it in the library. And we'll just make another one called redball_MC. That's a movie clip version. So that should all be okay. And then we can insert, create a motion tween, which takes us to frame 24. But our table and pockets have disappeared. So just click in frame 24 on the table. You don't have to unpadlock it. And just go insert keyframe, frame 24 on the pockets, insert keyframe, and then they'll hang around till the end. Then click into frame 24 on ball. Now at the very end, we want the ball to have bounced all around and then somehow end up in this side pocket over here. Now I'll just use the arrow tools to move that. Now if you play it at the moment, all right, it's just going straight in the side pocket. It's a bit of a boring shot. We want to do a trick shot. So to do a trick shot, what we're doing is at frame 5, so we click in the timeline here on ball at 5 and right click and go insert keyframe position. All right, now at 5, we're actually going to have it kind of go that it's gone over here. All right, and then we're going to have our next keyframe, just checking the instructions here at 10. Now remember, these didn't space out too well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try change things a bit here. I'll go at frame 8 and right click and insert keyframe position. And at 8, which was 10 in the instructions, now we're getting confused. Okay, so the ball would come down there and then it's going to bounce up to there, except I've done something wrong. I've got to be clicked into frame 8 and make sure I move this from the center up to there. All right, so if I play it at the moment, what's it doing? Okay, it's just doing that. Doo-doo. Now, because we're running low on time, we might just leave it like that. All right, that'll do for our trick shot. All right, so, but you can add more in. We went crazy to make that random one and did more position keyframes at 15 and at 13, 15, but you can try that out if you want to. But I'm just going to leave it like that because we're running out of time. So let's just export. Let's save as first. Remember, always save it. So this will just be our pool ball lesson 1. Okay, and we're saving that as an FLA. So that's our project file. Because remember, Animate had a hissy before when we wanted to export it as an animated GIF. And now this time it's behaving itself and went there straight away like it should. So remember, these things are all okay, and click save. We just need somewhere to save it. Pool ball lesson 1, and we'll just put a GIF on the end of the name so we know that's the GIF one. And export that, and that all worked really quickly. And then if we go to here, just to our Windows folders, and you can have Animate shut down. Your friend can be doing this on a computer if you've given them the GIF file without Animate or any Adobe. Just double click on that and we should see our little trick shot. And that's kind of cool because it slows down after it hits the cushion. It's a little bit more realistic. All right, so that is a bit of pool ball lessons for that. Okay, so that's the live demo done. So the challenge task, we've shown you some skills and shown you some tricks there, and you need to come up with something. You can make something like these if you can't think of ideas. If you really like the no one here with the big guy bullying the little guy or something, bullying shouldn't be done. So, oh my goodness, the lesson's so politically incorrect. Or you just want something bouncing or hopping along. You can make a ball kind of bounce and gradually slow down so the bounces get smaller and smaller. The Newton's cradle is a challenging one, but it'll be fun. So physicists love a challenge. So all physics students need to do that if you love science, or just the table tennis, some sort of table tennis one. Or whatever you think of doing. There's lots of different things we could do with this position keyframe redirecting. So that's the end of the lesson. It's another long one. So have fun with Adobe Animate. Remember to get the downloads from the link in the video. Give this video a big thumbs up because it's a further little step along the way in Animate. We're going to try and have videos coming out a bit more often now that all the tennis photo business of the Australia summer is finished. And remember, subscribe, so when you see that next lesson coming out, and then we'll see you in the next lesson.